It had been a stormy night on Mr. Clinton's railway. Telephone poles had blown down. Tiles had blown off the station roofs. And branches had fallen onto the lines. All over the railway, the storm had made a terrible mess. Mr. Clinton came to the sheds. Soon the other engines were steaming away from the sheds. Bethany went to the shunting yards to pick up the workmen. Aaron went to the freight yards to collect some telephone poles. Julian went off to collect new roof tiles. And Deborah was sent to her station with an empty van. Unfortunately for her, she was collecting eggs from Farmer Gary. She complained all the way to the station where he was waiting. Soon the conductor's whistle blew, and Deborah set off on her journey, as gently as she could with the eggs in the van. Deborah was going very slowly as she puffed along the line, although she didn't like this job at all. She was busy thinking about helping to clear out the mess with the other engines. She was approaching the crossing up ahead. She knew she had to stop and let the engines pass. Just then, Camille passed by, pulling a flatbed of broken branches and leaves. Deborah didn't say anything. She watched Camille continue to chuff down the line to clear the crossing. At last, Deborah was ready to go through the crossing, and she soon set off again on her journey. She arrived at the station. Bethany was there carrying workmen. They were fixing the station house roof. The station staff unloaded 4 boxes of eggs for the village store. Bethany puffed away laughing, but Deborah stared at her angrily for the way she treated her. She said no more as she chuffed on her next journey. Then Deborah saw Aaron taking on coal at the station. His cars were full of brand new telephone poles. He was on his second journey. Deborah was disappointed. Aaron rushed past her. Deborah started to speed up. She was hoping she could be careful with the eggs. But unfortunately, she was going so fast she wasn't being careful. Farmer Gary was worried and tried to tell her to slow down. But Deborah didn't hear him. Inside the van, the eggs were bounced around. Suddenly, there was a big bump when Deborah switched tracks. The eggs fell to the ground and broke. Deborah came to a signal. She knew she had to slow down. Deborah was heading for the harbor. Suddenly, she heard a loud horn. Julian was behind her. He rumbled up slowly with the roof tiles. Deborah went to switch tracks to let Julian pass. That night, Mr. Clinton came to the sheds. He looked very pleased. After that, Deborah felt much better. She knows now that she does have to be more careful with her trains no matter what job she's given. And soon she became really useful on the Tanfield Railway.